If you're new to marathons, panic on race morning, or like me, tend to shrug and say, she'll be all right, until it's too late, this video is your wake up call. I'm going to make it crystal clear what not to do in your next marathon so that you don't hit the wall at halfway, or worse, DNF because your stomach's in pieces. These are the mistakes that experienced marathoners have already mastered, and today you're going to learn them too. So I'm Russ, 2:43 marathon runner at Sydney last year, and with Sydney coming up again at the end of the month, I'm hoping to go sub 2:40. Follow me on Strava if you want to get some more insight into my training over these last few weeks and see how things go on race day. I'm going to run through the top 10 mistakes that could ruin your race and give you the solutions that you need so that you can run faster, feel stronger, and cross the finish line with a smile on your face. So take note, write them down, or save this video to watch again later to make sure that you don't make these mistakes. All right, so let's start off with some of the things you need to have locked in before the race even starts. Now, number one is not tapering. Now, the taper is quite a unique and individual process that you need to perfect over time with trial and error. But the general practical rule for recreational runners like us is that 2 to 3 weeks is in the right ballpark. Now, the aim of the taper is to allow your body to fully recover and adapt to all that training that you've been doing, so that come race day, you're feeling the best you felt throughout the entire block. There was a study in 2021, which I'll link below in the summary, and that was with recreational runners, and it found that a 3-week taper yielded the best results. A 2-week taper was also very effective, but marginally lost out to 3. So if it's your first marathon, I advise going for a 3-week taper. And on the flip side, if your body's a bit more battle hardened, you should be looking more towards 2 weeks. However, that doesn't mean that you just down tools completely. What a 3-week taper would look like is that 3 weeks out from the race, you'd have a 10 to 15% total reduction from your peak weekly mileage. Then week 2 out, so you'd do between 40 to 35% total reduction in volume of training. And then week 1, which is race week, you'd have a 50 to 60% reduction in total volume. But that doesn't include the actual marathon itself. Then if we looked at a 2-week taper, you'd probably be looking along the lines of a 25 to 35% reduction in volume in week 2. And then come race week, a 50 to 60% volume reduction. But a top tip, and what's also vital, is to remember that you want to retain some intensity levels. So those VO2 max and threshold sessions, still do them, but just decrease the volume. Number 2, not carb loading correctly. Now, this is another common mistake which is so easily fixed. The days of smashing down heaps of fettuccine Alfredo the night before the race, they're long gone.
Time to carb load.
The advice these days is to target 8 to 10 grams of carbs per kilogram of body weight. So around 4 to 5 grams per pound. And that's for the 3 days prior and leading up to the race. So if you're racing on a Sunday, that means you start carb loading on the Thursday. And the idea is that you're filling all of your muscles with as much glycogen and energy as possible for the race. It's like filling up your petrol tank. Now, this is a lot of food, even for someone like me who likes their carbs. For reference, 1 Weet-Bix is about 10 grams of carbs. So I'd be in the equivalent of about 75 of them a day. Now, the trick is that as you get closer to the race, you want to be swapping out as much fats and proteins as possible and just getting simple carbs in, like white rice, white bread, that kind of thing. Now, it's not the healthiest, but it's only for a short period of time. And my top tip is that on the day before, make sure you get the majority of those carbs in early in the morning or throughout the day, so that your last meal before you go to bed, that could be something fairly light, along the lines of some white rice and a bit of lean chicken breast. Number 3, getting your race day breakfast wrong. Now, the same principles of the carb load apply for the morning of the race too. But by now, your glycogen stores, they should pretty much be full to the brim. So something light to ensure that you're topped up, like a banana, some bread, that'll be fine. And then sip a sports drink on the way to the race so that your electrolytes are fully topped up too. Make sure that you have what you've been practicing with before your long runs. So hopefully you'll have been tweaking it to find what works best for you in your training block and at what time to have it, so that you're still not digesting it when it comes to the start line. Number 4, doing too much the day before. Now, the fact that these big marathons these days make you queue up for ages and drag you around a huge convention center trying to flog you loads of gear at the expos is so counterintuitive, it's crazy. The day before the race, you want to be spending as little time on your feet as possible. Call in a few favors to look after the kids, slob out, watch your new Netflix series, whatever it is. You're trying to get your legs in top shape, so doing thousands of steps and tiring them out, that's the opposite of what you want to be doing. If you can, pick your bib up a few days before, or even better, have someone else pick it up for you. I'm going to push to 1,000 subscribers, guys, so just a quick reminder to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what marathon you're targeting and anything you're unsure about in the lead up to it. I'm happy to answer any questions, so hit me below and I'll do my best to answer them. Number 5, arriving late. Now, it's a fact that there are never enough toilets and you're definitely going to get lost at some point as well. So give yourself plenty of time to join that toilet queue and just get there early. Plan out the route to the start line, maybe even do a test run so that on the day it's pretty seamless. There's nothing worse than getting into a massive panic, having to start your way further back than you need to and blowing those chances of PR during the first 10K, dodging and weaving around people unnecessarily. Check what time your corral opens, give yourself plenty of time. You're probably going to be getting up super early anyway, so what's an extra 20 minutes to make sure that you're set? Number 6, not factoring in the conditions. Now, this is something that I was guilty of in my recent marathon in the Gold Coast. It was so much hotter in the day than the days prior, and I just completely missed it. So keep an eye on the weather forecast, and if it's the same for you as it was for me, suck it up, be clever enough to recognize that PR probably isn't achievable in those conditions. And if it's not, make sure you then dial back your race pace so that you don't derail your entire race. Now, it might be difficult to take, but trust me, it'll be worth it. Just by adjusting 5% here or there, that can be the difference between still having a great race or bonking and finishing 25, 30% slower than what you were hoping for. If it's a mega hot day, plan what you're going to do about hydration, electrolytes on the course, and run with a hat. Number 7, going out too quickly. Okay, so we're now about to race. You're on the start line. You know what you need to do to achieve your PR. You've got a buzz of adrenaline, nervous energy, and you blast through the start line and you set yourself a 5K PR. Then come the halfway point, you're bent over thinking, what's happened? Be disciplined. If people are overtaking you or people are running around you, starting to surge, resist that temptation to go with them. You're racing yourself, not everyone else. So stick to your target time, perhaps even pull back a little bit in the first bit to aim for a negative split. Far too many recreational runners go out too quickly and fade heavily later on. Do not be one of them. Number 8, using the on-course nutrition. Now, that on-course nutrition is a great way for those nutrition brands to get themselves some new customers, but don't be one of them. Unless you've been practicing in those long runs with that specific brand that they're handing out, don't be tempted by the free gels and chews that they're handing out on the course. Those unfamiliar fuels, they can really cause you GI problems and completely throw your race plan out the window. So make sure you've got a nutrition plan locked in. You're carrying all the fuels that you need to get you through to the finish line. Number 9, not fixing problems early. What's worse, you're sock rubbing your big toe 5 kilometers into the race because you didn't put it on properly, or having a pool of blood in your fancy carbon race shoes and an incredibly painful blister at 30K, all because you were too scared to stop and sort it out earlier on in the race. If you come across small problems, fix them straight away. If it's chafing, your watch causing you discomfort, whatever it might be, get on top of it early so that they don't become bigger problems down the road. If you have to, stop, pull over to the side, deal with what you need to do, and get back onto race pace as quickly as possible. Number 10, doing something new on race day. So last of all, and probably the most simple thing, is not doing something new on race day. You get sucked in at the expo the day before, you buy yourself your first pair of carbon race shoes, and you think that it'll be great to run the marathon in them the next day. Wrong. Your long runs are the times to be trying out new race gear, nutrition, hydration, not during the race. So don't be tempted to do something that you haven't done on the day, that you haven't done in training, hoping for a miracle, because the marathon has a way of making you pay for silly mistakes. The phrase "nothing new on race day" is etched into the minds of seasoned runners, and that should be with you now too. So those are the top 10 marathon mistakes and how to avoid them. If you take just one thing from this video and apply it to your next race, I guarantee you'll feel more confident, run smarter, and have a better chance of getting that PR. Now, if you want to take your marathon training to the next level, check out my other videos here for top insight into the stuff that most runners never get taught. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Ta-ra.